Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another Chase on Two Wheels. First ride in front of us, we have BMW's 2018 S1000 XR. This is their adventure model that uses the same power plant as the S1000 XR. Mountain got this thing in as a used bike the other day, and when you guys know Mountain doesn't typically have BMW, so when I saw that they had this thing, I was like, oh my god, taking my opportunity. I'm gonna ride this thing, and they've got a multi-strata in there, so we're gonna do a multi-strata first ride next, and then we're gonna do a comparison. So which one would you rather have, BMW S1000 XR or a multi-strata 1200S? So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get this bike started. If you guys are not subscribed to the channel and you like motorcycle content, I welcome you to join us here on the two-wheeled side, and make sure to hit that like button so we can rev the heart of the YouTube algorithm so that more people can watch this video. And without further ado, let us begin. Alright, boys and girls, we are on a BMW. Yay! We don't get very many BMWs here. Unfortunately, Mountain is not a BMW dealer. I really wish they were, because BMW's got some good bikes in their lineup, man. So guys, today we're on a used bike. From what I can tell, it's mostly stock. We've got the stock exhaust, obviously. I think this thing's got a little over 6 grand miles, 6 or 7, something like that. So we should be pretty stock, which is good. If we're going to be used, I'd rather it be stock. All right. Ooh. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I've got a slightly bent leg. I can actually flat foot this motorcycle, which is kind of crazy for it being an adventure bike. Good God. Is this detuned at all? That revs like a S1000 XR. Looks like we've got cruise control. I don't know what that little guy does. We've got modes. We are in road mode. It looks like we can go to dynamic, pro, and rain. We'll start in rain. We'll then go to road, and before we get to the highway, we'll make sure we're on dynamic. So mode changes looks pretty easy. You just hit this button a couple times, and that's all she wrote. Let's get this going, guys. All right, we got clutchless upshifting. Do we have clutchless down? We do. Good job, BMW. All right, guys, so we're here on the 2018 BMW S1000 XR. If you guys aren't familiar, BMW has this power plant that they use for their S1000 XR, which is their super sport. And it seems like they're just using it on a few different models. We're gonna stop here and test the brakes. Woohoo! Bro, this thing will come to a stop. Oh my goodness. That felt great. I am digging. Those are Brembos, right? Yep. Dude, front brakes on this is shockingly well at braking. I would have not expected it to brake so well for being such a big bike and all. So anyways, guys, BMW has their S1000 XR, which is their phenomenal super sport. And from what I can understand, BMW just took that power plant and put it inside of their S1000 XR. They've got a naked version, which is their single R, and then they have the XR, which is, I guess, the adventure version. But from doing the research, I don't know how much of an adventure bike this is, but more of a like touring bike, because this bike does have 17-inch wheels, so they don't have those bigger wheels for like off-road use. So because of that, and you know, the upright seating position, the windscreen and all, I think this is honestly the touring version of that power plant, you know? I can say body position right now, my legs are super comfortable. I love the seat that I'm in right now. It holds my butt. I'm sitting like towards the back of the seat, and it feels great, to be honest. I really like the seating position. We've got handlebars up front. Let's try this rear brake. Damn, even the rear brake is good. This might be the best rear brake I've ever experienced on a motorcycle, no lie. Impressive. We got a very easy throttle on, which I'm assuming is rain mode, because we're in rain mode, we're getting that throttling on. I'm gonna go ahead and put this thing in road mode. Let's see if we can do it on the fly. I assume closed throttle. Okay, there's some of the power that I was expecting. Guys, the S1000 XR's engine is insane, so it's interesting that they put it in this platform. You can, the way the power is put on this bike, you know for sure this has got an inline 4 powering it. It rides like a super sport. I'm being given power like I would expect on a super sport, and I'm braking like I'm on a super sport, which is strange because I'm in a touring bike, right? I'm in an adventure, an ADV touring thing. But you can feel where all of the power and all of the braking is coming from. You know, you can tell it came from that other bike. I will say the power hits a little low, which I'm very happy with. Because typically with inline 4s, all the power is up high. So you got to rev it to hell to get to the power. But like we're in road mode, and like, look at that. You know, I can still get that hit of power. Handling wise, I do feel like it's a little heavy, like in the front. I kind of want to just go ahead and get it into dynamic mode so I can really test the motorcycle for everything that it is. Let's go ahead and do it, you know, why not? Let's live life on the edge, boys. We also have an electronically controlled suspension on this bike, so if we hit this little suspension button here, we've got dynamic and road. I'm going to keep it in dynamic. Dynamic, this bike should be adapting to the road conditions as they come up to us. There we go, my gosh. This is a freaking super sport hidden inside of an adventure bike. This, or adventure touring, that's what I'm going to keep calling it. And that clutchless down. I'm digging this, man. The only thing I'm not really enjoying right now is the shifting. If you guys can tell, there's not really a hard click on the shifter, and we're in dynamic mode. We're in the dynamic suspension mode, and I'm not really getting that positive feedback on the click. I want to. Yeah, it feels computerized. I'm not really here for that. It is what it is. You guys might not care, but I like my bikes, when I shift gears, I want to feel a click. And this is like the opposite of that. You get 0 clicks here. I'm going to go around all these cars. I am a fan of how it handles up and down shifting. Like, the actual shift itself is super smooth, but I just want that feeling. I will say, for a 500-pound motorcycle, leaning it side to side, you can feel where that weight can come on. But when you get rolling, BMW's done a really good job getting this bike balanced well. So like the second I start rolling, I kind of forget that it's such a heavy motorcycle. I will say the steering does feel a little heavy. I've rode some other bikes, some upright boys, that have really incredibly light handlebars, at least an incredibly light handlebar feel, and I don't really get that here. I don't know what would really cause that, that weight up front, but I'm just not getting the lightness that I really want. Coming to a stop real quick right here. I gotta say, I'm kind of a fan of this, of the tack. Granted, you know, we've got some really cool all full color TFT dashes these days, but I do like the old school analog rev limiter or rev counter. I don't know, something about being able to see that needle go up and down. I feel like that is quintessential to motorcycling, or maybe just to, you know, people that enjoy riding. So I would love for this to maybe be a mini TFT dash, and then we still have these. I think that's kind of the ideal for motorcycling for me, my personal opinion at least. What do we have up here? Oh, a little power port. Okay, that's cool. Very needed on an adventure motorcycle. You know, these things are built for you to really put some time in. So having little additions like that, really nice. We also have heated grips. It is not cold enough here to use those. And we don't have an adjustable clutch, but we do have an adjustable brake lever, which is nice. Brake lever already feels good to me, so I'm going to leave that where it is. I'm kind of shocked that this bike has such a low seat height, guys. This is phenomenal for shorter people that are looking for a touring bike. I love that. I hate that some bikes are, you know, they're too tall for certain riders. The cool thing about this bike also is my legs have plenty of room, so for a taller rider, you know, 6 foot and up, you're not going to have a problem with this at all. My arm placement I really enjoy. I like having straight arms out on my handlebars. I feel like it helps me as a rider ride correctly, because, you know, you're not supposed to put weight on your handlebars, and I mean, I don't know how you would put weight with handlebars so high, but I really like this body position, and man, that'll make me smile every single day. The clutchless down and up shifts, it's phenomenal. I just wish that I got that click. Now, if I remember correctly, this windscreen comes up. Oh, there we go. Okay, so it's just like a manual pull it. We're gonna begin on the highway up here in a minute, guys. So I'm trying to give us a best case scenario for this. Wind protection. The buttons are feeling good. I wish they had a little more travel. I am getting some satisfactory clicks when I'm clicking on the button, so I am happy with that. The one thing about the mode that I'm not a fan of is I don't like where the mode button is. When I'm riding, I'm going to be using the mode button, and I wish I could get to the mode button with my thumb without having to really move it off of the throttle. And unfortunately, it's the kill switch. You know, I'm never going to really use the kill switch until I'm starting and stopping. So the mode button, which is the button I should be using more often, should be here. And the, you know, heated grip could be there, because, like, check it out. If I had mode, look at that. Mode right there, heated grip right there. That'd be ideal. All right, boys, 2018 BMW S1000 XR on the highway. We are in dynamic mode. We have the suspension set to dynamic mode. We have the windscreen at its tallest level, so we can have the best wind protection possible. Let's see what this thing's all about. The highway is where this thing should shine. I have no doubt we have plenty of power in the engine that we have under us to put on some serious mileage. We have the quick shifter up and down, so we don't really have to use the clutch at all. And let's see what this is about. Whoa, there's all the engine braking. I wasn't feeling engine braking at all during the road area, but now we're on the highway and at higher RPMs. I can start feeling that engine braking now. I will say in dynamic mode, the throttle response is pretty nice. It tapers on a little quickly, but it gives you enough to kind of modulate your speed, which is nice. Suspension feels a little hard for the highway though, and that's dynamic mode, so I don't know. I wish I could soften the suspension down some. Let's try this cruise control, guys. Move sideways and then press in, or there it is. So cruise control works really good. Touring motorcycle, you got to have cruise control. It is a requirement. Your hand will die if you don't. Can we shift in cruise control? Oh, it takes us out. Okay, cool. So I will say I'm getting a little buffeting at the top of my head. What happens if we push this down? A lot of buffeting. All right, we're gonna raise that back up. I wish the windscreen could be a little taller, but if you do like that, you're okay. the more I ride this thing, the more I'm like, dude, you can't hide an S1000 XR. You can put it in an adventure body all you want, but you ain't hiding what this thing's running on. You guys know that feeling of super sports when you get them on the highway, you just end up doing dumber things than you really should. That's exactly what this bike has got. You get on the highway and you suddenly feel like you're on a super sport. I will say, up in the revs, my feet are vibrating a lot, which is not a great feeling. So I'm not really a big fan of that. I wish it was kind of smoother, because, you know, if you think about it, you're going to be on the highway for a while on this thing, and a little bit of vibration in your feet could cause a lot of discomfort down the road. See what it leans over like. Oh, this van is going to kill us, but, you know, oh my gosh. I should have got off and walked. I mean, again, BMW did a really good job balancing. I don't have that much weight here. I felt stable on the highway, too. There was nothing really blowing me around, which is, you know, the highway's the important part on this bike. These are bikes that you should put tens of thousands of miles on. They're not going to be your cruise around town bike. Man, that dynamic mode opens up that engine. Holy cow. So guys, I gotta say, for a highway cruise, that's pretty solid. I will say though, I'm not 100% here for the inline 4 power delivery on a touring / adventure bike. I do appreciate that BMW obviously tuned this slightly differently to give me more lowdown power, but there's something about a feel and a sound that you get from an inline 4 derived from a super sport. And to be honest, I don't know if the person buying this is going to want that. If they're going to want a super sport, they're going to buy the super sport. You know, I feel like in this type of body, in this type of chassis, sorry, you're looking for something slightly different, or at least I came into this review thinking I would expect something slightly different, and I'm not. Now, this can be both positive and negative. If you maybe have an S1000 XR and you want to get something more comfortable that you can ride for a longer period of time, and you love the engine, this might be perfect for you. But for me, I don't know, I want a little more tamed down, I want a little more grunty, but I still want that power, and I want it to be delivered in a form factor that I don't have to rev the piss out of. And that's not really what I've got here. Everything you guys hear me say in my super sport first rides, you know, when you lean the bike over, you feel like you can have more, like that's when you feel like you're having really good fun on it. You gotta be really giving it some throttle to really make you smile. It doesn't, you know, just puttering around, it's not really content doing that. That's an interesting question I can ask you guys. When you're looking at like an adventuring and touring bike, do you want something that's like amped up and wants to be ridden hard, or are you guys also on a bike like this? I want to be able to ride hard, you know, if I'm in a, maybe I'm going on a trip and I'm going to end up in some twisty roads. I want to be able to have a good time there. But, you know, do you want that amped upness throughout the entire riding experience? Because that's what I'm getting here. All right, we can put this down now. I'm not too big of a fan of this. Like, I get it. But, like, I keep forgetting, like, do I need to push forward or push down and then pull back? You know, I wish that was a little easier to use. So for shits and giggles, guys, I'm going to put the suspension in road mode. We'll see if that maybe softens it up. I feel like the dynamic mode is, the suspension's a little hard. It should be changing actively, but you know, we would go over some big bumps on the highway and it was just shaking a lot. You know, if you're looking at a touring situation, I want my entire situation to be smooth. I want my throttling to be smooth when I need it to. And I think the rain and road modes do really well. I do think those tame down the power to a level that you'd actually want. You guys know my biggest gripe when bikes have modes is for the modes to be pointless. I can't stand it. I'm like, why are there modes if they're all fast? So I do like that there is a rain mode that really slows the bike down. That's really cool. Especially a motorcycle that you're probably going to be riding through a lot of weather conditions. You know, you can't, when you're planning a multi-day trip, you don't know what the weather's going to be the entire trip, so you got to be ready for it. So it's cool that this bike is set up for that. And honestly, I'm kind of looking for some bumps because I want to test out this road suspension, because right now it feels way smoother than the Dynamic did. Here's some bumps. Let's try those. Not bad. I might actually prefer the road suspension, if I'm going to be totally honest. Here's some adverse conditions. Yeah, road does a great job. Suspension feels way better now. Good Lord God. This thing is a rocket ship if you pull that throttle in. So guys, there's nobody behind me real quick. I just want to give those front brakes a good squeeze real quick. Man, you get some serious braking on this thing. I'm impressed, man. I think everybody that rides a adventure bike for the first time, I think we all see these motorcycles as being these really big, heavy, tall things. And you know, you make assumptions. You like, oh, that's going to be slow, and it's not going to be able to brake hard or anything. There is nothing on this motorcycle that would slow you as a rider down. BMW's done an incredible job balancing this thing to where when I'm here on the road, you know, the steering's a little sluggish compared to other adventure bikes that I've ridden, but you know, I've ridden some sluggish motorcycles, and this is definitely not one of them. Whew. That inline power, that's what I'm talking about. You know, when we're high up in the revs, it just like, it's on, off. And there's no smoothness to it when you're in dynamic mode. Let's pop over to road and just finish this way we're in road engine mode, and we're in road electronic suspension mode. So hypothetically, the modes we're in right now is what BMW wants you to be in when you're riding like we are right now. We're on the road, we're on city streets, we're not on a racetrack, we're, you know, not carving up a mountain or anything like that. And yeah, that throttle is tamed down so much. So really nice job on those mode changes. That's phenomenal. You guys are gonna have to tell me in the comments, what is this little circle boy for? Is that for menus or something like that? I imagine it would have to be, because there's no arrows anywhere. So that's got to be for menus. I wish it had something else to do, though. Let's come to a quick stop here real quick. And let's look at the dash. Trip, we've got odometer, obviously. We have a gas range. So not only do we have a gas gauge, but we have a range. That's awesome. Trip, 1, 2, average miles per gallon. I really like that it has a range in miles, because that's a big deal when you're traveling, dude. You need to know how long and how far you can go before you get to the next gas light or gas stop. So far, nice job, BMW. This is a phenomenal machine. Clutch has a bit of a heavy feel. I like it. I think if you got stuck in traffic with this thing, the clutch might be a little heavy for you. Your fingers might get a little tired. But you know, I don't think the bike's really made to ride in traffic a lot. It would be nice if you were in traffic to have the, you know, that's when you're in this upright body position, the handlebars with how high they are. You're going to be comfortable, and the bike will be easy to balance in traffic, but if you're constantly on and off that clutch, I think that might get a little tiring. But in the riding that I've been doing, it's felt really good. I don't really like my clutches super light, you know, I want to feel like I'm pulling something. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to pull off real quick into this little parking lot that we've been using for years now. And take a look at the bike. When this bike gets high in the revs, there's some shakiness going on somewhere. Like right here, where are we at? 5,000 RPMs and up. There's some weird shaking. And, you know, we're on a premium motorcycle. I kind of wouldn't expect that. I don't like that feel out of a motorcycle that costs like $17,000, $18,000. All right, let's get this bad boy turned off, get parked up, and let's do a little walk around. All right, ladies and gents, 2018 BMW S1000 XR. This is that traditional BMW colorway. I'm a big fan of it. I like when I can tell, you know, this is like a BMW signature. This is like a KTM being orange. This is BMW's thing. It looks like a race set. I love it. And to be honest, I kind of like the lights. I like the look of this motorcycle. It's, you know, BMWs are always like, you either like them or you don't. I personally do like them. I like that the motor is silver. The exhaust is terrible. Oh, you got penny ears so you can put little side bags on. I like this little handlebar situation. These are bikes that you need luggage on, you know. And honestly, these bigger bikes, I actually care less about the tail. That's pretty cool. The key to get the rear seat off is right back there. Because the bike is so big, the tail doesn't really bother me as much. You know, obviously, everybody pretty much chopped those off. But I don't know, man. I think it looks solid. The angles are really cool. I even like how there's a duckbill looking thing up here, and then you got this kind of similar-ish shape in the back. You got hand guards, so that's going to help you for like wind protection if you're on the highway for a while, especially if it's cold, right? Because you got the heated grips and this, so it's going to help out riding it on the street for a while in the colder months. It's a good bike, man. And in this colorway, it makes sense because based on the ride, this is a race machine. You know what I mean? It's a race machine that's been given some touring characteristics, but it ain't fooling nobody, man. You guys can see those 17-inch tires that we were talking about earlier. This thing's made for the road. This thing is not made for dirt or anything like that. And before we get back out of here, guys, I'm going to take a photo of it. If you guys aren't following me over on Instagram at C2WPics, that's where we post all the photos of the first rides we do. So if you guys want to see all of those photos in their absolute glory, boom, there it is. Instagram at C2WPics. If you guys go and follow me over there and see this photo, make sure to let me know this is the video you guys came from. All right, just like that, we are headed out of here. It's kind of cool. You guys can see the electronics back here on the rear shock and here in the front. That's crazy, man. Electronically, like dynamically changing suspension is insane. So guys, at the end of the day, I guess the question is, who is this bike made for? I think it's made for the person that is looking for a touring motorcycle that is comfortable and they can put tons of thousands of miles on. But there's a big asterisk, and it's somebody that is coming from or wants the feeling of a super sport inside of their touring machine. I think BMW has made a phenomenal bike here, but it feels like it's a super sport hiding in a touring platform. It doesn't really perform and feel like a touring motorcycle. Again, I don't think that's a good or a bad thing. I think that's totally dependent on what you're looking for in a touring bike. I just think this thing performs identical to a super sport. You know, the way the power is delivered. Granted, if you put it in road or rain mode, you really get a tapered on power, which is nice. But having that dynamic power mode and dynamic pro, whatever the hell, I ain't even opening up that can of worms. Those, when put on this motorcycle, suddenly becomes just a more comfortable seating position to S1000 RR. Granted, you've got handlebars that are slightly heavier than other bikes in the class, but if you're looking into this bike, you know, that's who you need to be. You need to be looking for a bike you can put hundreds and thousands of miles on, but when you got that little hair up your butt and you need to go like ride some twisties or something and you don't want to be hindered at all, this is a bike that you could do that with. You know, I feel like this would be a great bike for somebody that wants one bike that they can do almost anything on. You would have no issues at all doing a track day on this bike and being able to blaze. I just think it's a really interesting motorcycle. For me, it's not really what I would be looking for in a touring motorcycle, but you know, to each their own. And guys, that's going to bring us to the end of this first ride. I am Chaseontwowheels, and I appreciate you guys for riding around with me. If you guys are in the market for a motorcycle and you're in that North Georgia area like we are here, you guys make sure to go check out Mountain Motorsports. They're the company that let me borrow this motorcycle. The Roswell location is where we started from, and that's where we're going to end at. And you can actually use that link down below for first ride special pricing. It'll give you a discount on motorcycles you buy at Mountain, and that way you can use that money to go buy some gear or something like that. And guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. It actually does help us out a lot here on the channel. And subscribe to the channel if you're looking for more motorcycle content. Outro crew, you guys are gonna have to let me know, is super sport braking and power delivery something you think you would find yourself wanting on a touring machine, or does that kind of power delivery need to stay in the super sports and maybe the nakeds? You know what I mean? We've kind of got an identity crisis going on right here. Guys, you guys know I love you a long time. Make sure to put OC in your comments down below so I know you guys are in the outro crew. And I'll see you on the next one. I love you a little more. Later, guys.